We'll call to order the Plan Commission meeting, special meeting for Wednesday, April 10th. Could we have a roll call, please, Bethany?
Commissioner Harlow.
Here.
Commissioner Curry.
Here.
Commissioner Krillenberger is absent. Commissioner Jablonski is absent. Commissioner Cernovich.
Here.
Commissioner Willoughby is absent. Commissioner Fiasconi. Here. Commissioner Moore.
Here. Chairman
Cashman.
Here. Next is public comment for any non-agenda items. Is there anyone here with anything not on the agenda? Never is. We'll move on. Next is approval of minutes, and we're going to basically hold these and do those in the finance recommendations at our next meeting.
Correct. We didn't have the transcripts from the court reporter prepared in time, so we'll bring the findings from the last meeting for the short-term rentals as well as the minutes for the next meeting.
And when is that next meeting?
That would be May 8th
Hey, okay.
at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. 6 p.m. That's why we're late. Okay.
Next order of business are sign permit reviews. We have two, but we're not going to review them tonight because the Historic Preservation Commission was unable to have a quorum, so did not review the matters.
Correct.
So we're going to also continue those, correct?
Correct.
To the May 8th meeting at
Yep.
6 p.m. Do I have a motion to continue case A-11-2024 and case A-10-2024 to the May 8th meeting?
So moved.
Have a second?
Moore.
Second. Curry.
Roll call vote, please, Bethany?
Commissioner Harlow.
Aye.
Commissioner Curry.
Aye.
Commissioner Cernovich.
Aye.
Commissioner Fiasconi. Aye. Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Chairman Cashman.
Aye. Our next order of business are public meetings. We have two tonight. First is case A-7-2024, Mouse Automotive, McLaren, 2 Salt Creek Lane, major adjustment to exterior appearance and site plan review to allow for changes in the building elevations and site plan. Is there someone here from the applicant? Welcome.
Hi, welcome, thank you. Yeah, my name is Jesse Troyden. So with the Redmond Company,
Okay.
I guess you just want a brief
Brief overview.
overview. I can give you kind of a bullet point just of the revisions that we made.
Okay.
From a site plan perspective, it was a monument sign that was kind of at the southeast corner of the site. We took that, there was a masonry wall proposed for that area, that we took that out of the project and are just continuing the existing fence. The northwest corner of the site, there was a gate on the original proposal. We just had additional information and notes on that gate and what that gate is, just based on development of the site and knowing what existing conditions are. The fence along the east property line got moved several feet to accommodate newly proposed fire hydrant on the private side of the fence for fire department access. That was just something that was coordinated with the fire department as we were going through our initial plan reviews. We revised some of the parking stalls along the north side of the building. They just shifted to the west to accommodate a generator that would be adjacent to the proposed transformer. So that information was added to the plans. And then we also added a sidewalk around the southwest corner of the building with a pedestrian gate back to the parking area for court-required means of egress. So that also was added to the site plan. As far as landscape changes, it's really, the landscape changes revolve around all these revisions. We added screening for this equipment on the north side of the building. We added screening for the equipment associated with the operable gate, and then adjusted landscaping around these other areas that were revised, just to have those plans coordinated. And then building exterior, we did revise the color palette slightly. We had a white and gray with some wood look siding originally. Now we have like a light gray and a dark gray or almost black color, and also another wood look siding still, but we just have more specific, I guess, details on what that is. And then we added additional rooftop equipment, just based on the mechanical design, because I guess the original submittal, we didn't have a mechanical engineer on board. So that's probably the main change from the exterior appearance standpoint. So I guess that's the revisions that we had
Okay.
on this.
Great, thank you.
submittal.
Laurel, questions?
I don't have lots of questions. I do like the use of existing fencing and piers as a way of synthesizing or kind of integrating with the surrounding office park, which has a pretty unified but exceptionally different style from what you're proposing, and so,
Yep.
you know, that's a nice way of kind of knitting them together, so to speak. And my other comment is not really focused on this McLaren project, but it's more for Bethany and the group. I like the requirement that all of the generators and transformers and that kind of equipment will be screened. And I'm wondering if we could require that of all utilities that put, you know, chunky equipment into the parkways of Hinsdale. It's, I don't know if it's AT&T or Verizon or other utilities that I'm not aware of their names, but there are, you know, like 4-foot-high green boxes in random parkways all around town. And unless the homeowner decides to screen them, they're just there and they're really unattractive. And, you know, maybe we could take a lead from this project, which is looking great, and require that
Put that on Rob's to-do
around town.
list.
Yeah.
Since that's public property.
I think the zoning code rewrite may have touched upon that.
There's also restrictions on like transformers, which what you're describing. There's
Yeah.
restrictions on what ComEd will allow you to put near them because they have to be serviced.
Correct.
So you really can't screen them.
A lot of municipalities have struggled with utilities in the right-of-way just because of ComEd requirements. So, but it's something we can look at. I know when we recently approved the small cell amendment, one of the things that is in that is, you know, stealth or screening. So they either have to hide the utilities for that. We haven't had any constructed yet, but that was looked at for the small cell specifically for those mechanicals.
Right.
So it's something we can certainly look at elsewhere.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Laurel. Cynthia?
I agree. I think the design looks wonderful. I'm wondering, the infills that you're going to be using, is there a selection you've made for the equipment that was included in our packet?
For the equipment?
For the equipment, right.
Oh, as far as the screening?
As far as
Are
the screening, it looks like there's options. I just wondered if you had made a choice on that.
Well, I guess.
And maybe it says in here,
I think there was a
I may
choice.
not have,
was there a choice? I'm sorry if I missed it.
I may not have, well, I probably had it described in the
Okay.
cover letter, but
In,
mean-
I believe in the materials exhibit sheet that you
It
did
says which
include
one
the
it is.
screenshot of the black louver. So if you scroll to that, I think you
yeah.
have, yep,
So it's gonna be similar look to this. So it's a
Okay.
solid ribbed metal panel with horizontal orientation.
One of the drawings had different sizes. Is it going to be uniform to cover,
So,
when it showed the top of the building?
no,
No,
so
they're not uniform.
we did, I mean, what I can say, I guess, on that is they're currently, I've been working with, the manufacturer of the roof screening as well as our mechanical engineer. And alongside Bethany as well, I guess from our earliest submittal, we've made several revisions on the rooftop equipment to try to address the concerns. So right now, I mean, the roof screening manufacturer, there are some limitations to the heights they can do. Obviously, we have the largest piece of equipment, which serves the vehicle service department. Is the tallest. This is just over 9 feet tall, that piece of equipment. Most of these are much less than that. So as an example, these two screens, and I'll go to a roof plan, that might be easier to see kind of what we, these two units here, I can't get them both to be 9 feet tall because they can only go a maximum of 6 inches above the top of the unit. So
Okay.
those I couldn't get them to connect. These two, a couple of things that we did even since our last submittal we gave for the Board of Trustees meeting is, so I went back to the manufacturer of the roof screens, and also we revisited some mechanical design options. We were able to downsize this unit and get them closer together so we could get this into one instead of two. And then there was another one that was located kind of closer to this roof edge that we were able to eliminate. That was serving just a couple of small spaces on the first floor. So we reduced that from the last submittal. And I mean, this is really the effort. We looked at trying to relocate more of these to group them, but with the space limitations we have inside the building and the ductwork sizes, there's no way to feed these ducts where they need to
put 'em all
go
together.
if we start bunching
Right.
them all in the same area. We were trying to be mindful, and I guess I want to focus on is because we see these, or I mean, you look at these 2D elevations, like this one is probably, looks like the busiest one,
Right.
but we did have notes on here. I think these were like 80-some feet back from this front facade. So we try to be mindful in placing these as close to the center of the roof as we could, so that if you look at, like, this is a view from Ogden Avenue.
Okay.
This was the original submittal we had, and you could see this roof screen up here. This is the current,
Much
so this is standing like in the middle of Ogden. So you can see up here, you can see at the top of this one a little bit.
Right.
And similar things on the, I mean, we couldn't see one on this one, but we can see a little bit of,
No, I think that looks
from
good.
Salt Creek. Even these larger ones, I know you're gonna see these, you'll see the top of one over here still by the main entrance. And these are the two largest screens, that are over the service area, so you're gonna see them.
Need that, right.
And they do change heights, but I think you see them from mainly the rear of the building, and then also the west end, I guess, if you were coming down Ogden. I think we probably had more views on this. This is from the intersection, which we're not really seeing, and you'll
don't see
see a
it,
couple
right.
of corners of them here on Ogden Avenue. And this is kind of from the back northwest entrance of the parking lot. So,
No, I think, thank you, you've been sensitive to
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying-
Obviously, you
yeah.
spent time, and it's a beautiful design building, so you're gonna make sure you're not taking away from that, so, thank you.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. Julie?
I just had questions about the screening, and you just answered those.
Okay.
I'm glad you were able to combine some of the equipment, because before it seemed, like there were a lot of different sizes, but I'm fine with this.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you talk a little bit about the parking. Just to confirm, all the cars will be indoors, the cars for sale?
Yes.
Yes?
There's not cars for sale. Are you on this back parking lot you're talking
Yeah,
about? Yeah. No, there's not.
okay. I know we changed the ordinance changed the amount of parking spots needed from like 118 or something to whatever's there, 45 or something. I just wanted to make sure we weren't creating a problem there. if
Yeah,
a
and
bunch of cars were gonna be parked outside.
Yeah, and we maintain that ordinance. So we maintain the number of stalls that we had.
Yeah,
Even though we redid, I think, our floor area calcs, and we came up with required one less, like, per
Yeah, I saw
ordinance,
that.
but we
Yeah,
left, yeah, we try to maintain all the spaces that we originally had.
okay.
Even with that's why these shifted to the west to accommodate the equipment space, the space needed for that equipment.
Okay.
But we kept the stall count the same.
Yeah,
Thanks, Ann.
For
Scott?
me, the big thing is the rooftop part of it all. It's all it's not just the screening of it, but it's the amount of units, where they're laid out, how choppy it is. It just doesn't, I mean, this is a beautiful building, architecturally. And I really like it a lot. It's just where I'm hung up on is the different elevations, the numerous different elevations, and the amount of items that are now up there. We went from 2 that are fairly straightforward and simple and clean to 8, and increased this footage from 6 to 9 feet 2 inches, and we're all over the place up there. And it doesn't fit the brand. It doesn't look good for the building, and it's like, that's where my head is.
So, yeah. I
What
mean,
can be done?
Like, did you consider, instead of using equipment-mounted screens, is doing, traditional screening, where you could have more design latitude? You could group it together, similar to what is at the Cancer Center across the street to the east of you.
Yeah.
Where it's just structural tubes, and then you can use any kind of paneling or screening that you want, and you can include, like above the service area, that could all be in one screen with one constant height. You could group not just those 2 units together, but I mean, I've used this type of screening, and I think it's cheap looking. I think if it was an existing building, when you're going in and you're trying to put wind loads and stuff on roof joists and stuff that are already there, that's one thing. This is a new building. I mean, the structure's new, so I'm not a fan of this type of system. There's other examples of it in Hinsdale, and it just looks cheap compared to traditional mechanical screening. It's certainly less expensive, but it looks it too. And it has these limitations because, like you said, it's mounted to the unit. And I don't think I've seen examples of it even on my own projects where it doesn't hold up well during storm events. I mean, the panel starts sliding and opening. It's just cheap. If it was an existing building, I'd be more flexible about it, but the fact it's a brand new building and a beautiful building, I just think it's unfortunate. And the views you're showing, I think, are interesting, but I think you really would see this equipment coming from Western Springs. You're gonna have a good vantage point of this building on the best corner of the design, which is very well done. That's my concern. It's just gonna look cluttered. I would really encourage you to look at a different type of screening system where it could have more flexibility. And not use this type of equipment-mounted systems. There are ones that, like this, that are not mounted to the equipment. They're lightweight. They, for the same reason, try to reduce cost, which you could then, enclose multiple units and possibly have some more flexibility. But I just feel you've done such a great job here, and it's the top of it. And I know mechanical wasn't, it was conceptual design. You didn't have mechanical design. But I just think, I just don't think this is the answer to the solution, the problem. Everything, the elevations, I actually think you improved the elevations, some of the material changes to the panels and everything. I think it's going to be a nicer, more refined look. The landscaping, I think, is nice. To Laurel's comment, I think how you're fitting into the site. You've dealt well with the existing utilities and things that have kind of thrown you some curveballs. I think you've done a good job with those. It's really just this final detail on the roof that I would just encourage you to investigate something else.
Yeah, I mean,
Any concern with the post-mounted system looking larger?
Do you mind speaking into the microphone?
sorry.
for
Oh, yeah,
the
sorry,
pickup?
because this is on TV.
Yeah, sorry. Any concern with a post-mounted screen appearing larger from the street? Because now, instead of that 9-foot height dropping, it'd be carried consistent. We had
Right, but that would be at that back unit. And
It would be.
And I would have less, problem with that because it's set back.
Okay.
You'd have those 3 units there at the 9-foot height. What's the height of the 2 units by the elevator? Those 3 units. And then you could actually, is that the elevator override there?
yeah, there's an elevator overrun,
So you could actually enclose those 3 together.
but
Where's that roof plan? Oh, to this one, so we can just see the height. Let's see south elevation.
It was an option that we did look at.
yeah.
And we were just concerned, well, combining them, now we're carrying that same taller height across. when we didn't need to, and we had to move it a little bit bigger than,
Well, I think it's great that the biggest unit's the furthest away.
Right.
That's kind of a benefit. I think, I wouldn't be concerned because it's set back. I think it would, I mean, if you look at the cancer center, it's a large enclosure. It's a medical facility, so it's a huge enclosure.
Right.
But it's just one enclosure, you know, and it simplifies things. It looks like those units in that area, you're about, you know, one's 2'8", one's 3'8", you know, so say you enclosed all that with 4 feet high, it would be clean, one enclosure.
Yeah, that's kind of.
You know, the ones over, you know, that are two separate ones to the west, what do those mechanical units serve? Because I can see they're pretty far apart, I don't know how you could combine those two.
Yeah, I mean,
But again, if you could, you know, use a different system, I think it'll just look better. I think the quality's better. And this is a great investment for McLaren and for Moss Automotive. I just think this is, it would be a better solution.
any opposition to us stopping those 6 inches lower than the unit? Just to try to minimize the height from line of sight, they'll still screen it entirely? I know it doesn't meet
Probably fine.
ordinance.
That would require variation.
Okay.
Maybe not. Depends how much you want to do a variation.
Because I agree, minimizing the look of these units is certainly in everybody's interest.
I'm not concerned about the ones in the back because you're so far away. It's really those three there. If that was one enclosure with a higher quality, you could then even conceivably use the same materials you have on the building, you know, as panels. I mean, whatever. You have more flexibility as far as a designer. That's the view that I really think people are going to see, and I just don't want them to be distracted by anything other than the great design below that.
And Steve, for me, the two in the back left, one is taller than the other. If you just made that whole thing just
One
one
height.
big enclosure at one height, it'd be great.
Yeah.
If it's
I don't think you're going to see that one. And even if it's one enclosure, if you're coming down Salt Creek Lane, you're just going to see one enclosure.
Exactly. That was kind of the point, right? So just
Yeah.
clean it up.
Yes, so you'd end up with 1, 2, 3, 4 enclosures.
As opposed to none.
And then I do think you'd have more flexibility on, you could truly, you know, look at the palette that you have for this building and use it up there. I mean, that's, if you read the letter, that's what it's just supposed to be. And I just know from personal experience, I've used these, I had to use them, and I did not like them. But those are existing, you know, buildings. And, you know, when we got into like trying to reinforce roof joists and everything, it's a nightmare. But here, I mean, you have the flexibility of the structural engineer on board.
Okay.
Is this something you could look at revising and come back at our May meeting? I know I talked with Rob, and you guys, he issued like an excavation and foundations, or, I know you guys are, the fence is up and you're starting to start construction, but.
Yeah, we're just waiting for ComEd to move the power line. We've
Poor
been waiting
guys.
for a while, so as soon
Good
as they
luck.
get that moved, then we can start moving some
Okay.
dirt. So we're
So
anxious to
that's
go.
what's holding as the comment, okay.
Yeah, that's what's
So-
holding up right now, but
I think if you had the time, it would be great, because then we could quickly look at it, and I just feel like it would give you the flexibility that you could make it look totally like the rest of the building. And everything else that there changes, I think were great.
Yeah.
is this something we could work with staff on?
You could send it to me. I mean, if I looked at it and I felt confident that the commissioners wouldn't want to string me up.
Just so we can move this through through the approval process, because we're trying to get the rest of the project going as well.
Well, commissioners, what do you think about that?
I'm fine with that.
I'd be happy with that.
Okay, yeah,
Because I know staff will involve.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'd be fine.
Yeah, we could expedite.
Okay. No, that'd be great. It was a really exciting project. I was glad to see you guys at the 4th of July parade.
Yeah.
Those were showstoppers when you guys rode down the street.
I think it was the hit of the parade.
It was.
Was it really?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Because I think it was
fun,
actually,
you
it must have been, when were you guys first to us? Is spring of the previous year? So I remember it was like, hey, do you guys ever think about coming to the parade? And it was really cool that you
We'll have
did.
to let Mike know. Yeah.
Oh, no, it was really,
I hope you sign up again this year.
oh, yeah.
That was
it's-
Julie who said, can you bring the cars?
Oh,
to
yeah.
I
the
hope you do
parade?"
it again this year,
Yeah.
because, I
Okay.
mean, everybody
It
was
was great.
talking about
Yeah,
it.
no,
It's-
it stands
that's
out.
awesome.
You don't see McLaren go down the street too often. Good sales,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sales opportunities.
Can I
Thank
just
you.
ask a question, the fire hydrant, is that a choice that you're putting an additional one, or is that something the fire department is requiring you to do, or
The
you got a
fire
lot
marshal-
invested there? Wasn't there an additional hydrant you said?
There's
when
a,
you moved
there's a
in there?
hydrant,
Oh, there is none? Okay.
there is one on the, along the street, but they requested one inside the fence,
Right.
so they don't have to go through a pedestrian gate or
To get
try
there.
to go over a fence. So we added one in right kind
Makes
of near the
sense.
main entrance. So, yeah, we can look at screen, I mean, you're opposed to a ribbed metal panel?
I'm not opposed, I mean, I just put it to you, I mean, I look at what you have going material-wise here, and something that would be harmonious with the other stuff. I'm not opposed to red,
Okay,
you know. I think getting the color and, it would just give you more flexibility, because you're not just buying a system.
And I think your eye as an architect looking at this.
Yeah, if I
speaks
hadn't been
volumes.
through it, because it seemed like a great solution when it came to me, like when we had to use it in a spot, and it's like, man, plant some evergreens or something, and it's like, they serve a function, which I think is mostly existing buildings. For new buildings, when you have the opportunity. And there are, I would look, I mean, it's not, I don't know if it's cityscapes, but there's other ones that instead of, cantilevering up a steel tube or something, it's from your roof structure, it's a more distributed, lightweight framing system. So I think there's other options that you might be able to do that, follow this approach, more lightweight, and if it's cost effective, it makes sense. Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll look forward to just communicate with Bethany, and we'll try to give you any feedback. Anytime, if you even come up with some concepts and you want to just bounce it off of me, just let Bethany know, and I'd be happy to look at anything.
Okay,
Where did you say, this is Wisconsin?
That's where we're up, yeah,
Yeah.
we're up.
Where?
Just west of Milwaukee by 20 minutes walk.
Oh,
or
okay.
so.
Okay. Not Green Bay or anything?
No,
no,
Hope the traffic's good for you going home. Thank you. So do I have a motion to approve case A-7-2024, major adjustment to exterior appearance and site plan review to allow changes to building elevations and site plan under the condition that they investigate more traditional roof equipment screening and would share potential solutions with with Bethany and the planning department.
So moved, Moore.
Do we have a second?
Second, please, Connie.
Roll call vote, please, Bethany?
Commissioner Harlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Curry,
Aye.
Commissioner Cernovich,
Aye.
Commissioner Fiasconi,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore,
Aye.
Chairman Cashman.
Aye. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, our next order of business is case A-8-2024, U Chicago Medicine Advent Health, 120 North Oak Street, site permit review and major adjustment to plan development to allow for changes to the hospital campus signage. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Gary Potts. I am the owner of Professional Permits. Our offices are located at 58171 Dragonfly Court in Osceola, Indiana. Here today to discuss the hospital and their sign program amendment. What I would like to do is just go through an overview of the entire project, and then we can go through kind of sign by sign and talk about
That's what I'd like to do. 'cause
each
there's a lot of
individual
signs.
sign. It may be time consuming, but I think it'll be an exercise that's worth
And,
its time.
Excuse me, are you here related to the sign project? No? Huh? Just wanted to come.
I probably got the timing wrong. Is there anything that says after this? Is there another meeting post this?
What meeting are you looking for?
At 7:30? I was just told to be here.
Oh, for the Plan Commission meeting?
I guess so.
Was it for signage?
Bill, which meeting were you
What-
coming to?
This is the Plan Commission. Normally, we're at 7:30. We readjusted a few of them to 6 o'clock. But we had basically that McLaren Automotive and then Hinsdale Hospital.
No, this is 625 South County Line. It's not here.
Could that have been HPC, 60
Could that have been historical? Yeah.
South
Yeah.
County Line Road?
But we
As a
didn't,
residential property?
Yeah.
That's probably the Historic Preservation Commission, I would think. which they were gonna meet on, was it on Monday?
They were
just
gonna meet
met
on Monday,
on
yeah.
But they didn't have a
But they
quorum,
weren't able
so
to get a quorum,
they
correct.
didn't have the meeting, so
Yep.
that'll be next.
Yeah, but
When's
we
their
didn't
next
have
meeting?
625 South County Line on the agenda. So what I'll do, I'll give you guys my contact information. Okay,
That's
Okay.
Burridge's older, that's his neighbor.
But I imagine it's the Historic Preservation Commission. Yeah.
you're more than welcome to stay during the
Okay, yeah,
meeting.
yeah, we're not kicking you out, but if you, I wanted to know if you wanted to.
We don't want to bore the heck out of you.
Yeah. Okay, so back to what we were saying, we'll go through just a quick overview, and then we'll take each sign
Grace
type.
Church, right? I thought so. Nice to see you. Oh, how sweet of you. Thank
Bill,
you.
good to see you.
Nice to see you both.
All right, so this is U Chicago Medicine Advent Health. It's the new partnership that resulted from the dissolution of the Amita Health partnership between Ascension and Advent. We are very excited about this new partnership and welcome the opportunity to serve the residents of this great community. As part of this partnership, the branding of the signs is changing. A summary of the sign changes we will go through, and then we will go through each individual sign and talk about what's there now and then what we're proposing for each of the locations.
So what we'll do is as we get into each sign, then once, and what's your first name?
My name's Gary.
Gary. Once Gary presents, then we'll basically ask the commissioners if you have any questions or comments about each one, and then we can move on to the
Can I,
next one.
Steve, may I make a request, please, because this is complicated?
Yeah.
There's 20-plus signs. As we go through, let's say number 1. For me to go through this deck, it says sign 1 was on public right-of-way, if I read
Correct.
correctly. And now
Yes.
you're moving it to the private property, which sounds great. But
Yes.
then at the same time, by moving it, you now need a variance approval because it should be 10 feet from the lot line, if I'm
Correct.
not mistaken.
Yes.
So, what I'm asking is, sign 1, is it or is it not in compliance as it exists today? And then, what is it that we are approving if it is or isn't in compliance, and what the variance might be on a per-sign basis,
Okay.
please?
Sure.
Thank you.
And I have other thoughts on even
Because
moving it, it still doesn't comply
That's
with
my
our
point.
code
Right.
because of the 100-foot sight lines.
I was wondering.
And-
about
It needs to
sidewalk.
move
And the
another
heights.
19 feet and change further
Right.
away from,
Plus you're adding height to it.
and then height and
Right.
everything. Yeah, so there's a lot of issues. And if there's too many issues, what I would recommend is that we ask the applicant to consider those, and then we continue it so they can come back, because this is not like one sign or a couple signs like we have, where in some cases we recommend or approve something with conditions.
Yes.
If we get to where the conditions are so numerous, then I would like to see the package revised.
Well, just,
Thank
we
you.
need it summarized so that
Yeah.
we know in one spot without having to go to multiple places in the documents to figure out what it is you're asking for.
Sure.
It would be very helpful to have it summarized for us so that we all knew immediately and we could say, here are the things that we're actually voting on and approving, and what that variance, like you just said, with the sightlines and everything else, is on a per item basis.
And just a little history, when Amita came to us in 2017, they had this corporate logo that was basically a gradient change, and it was basically like 30
Gradient, right.
colors or something. And we made them change their logo, because that does not comply. We had three colors a lot permitted.
Yep.
We gave them some flexibility, went to 4 colors, and that's what was there.
And now
We
we're
have-
at 10 on this.
Right, so that alone, if we just say that we're not, as a commission, if we're not in support of more than 4 colors, every sign in this package has to change. Because, there's a few that are black and white, or whatever, there's a few, but most of the signs
awning
would have to
signs and
change
things, yeah.
because they don't comply, and I think that would be, personally, really a slippery slope to open it up, because we've had the issue with sign colors, a number of them,
Yes.
repeatedly throughout the village, and the village ordinance is very clear on that. So we'll see, but we'll take it one at a time, and then the goal would be, we want to make sure that as all the commissioners understand what it is we're approving and that it's clear, and that the applicant can respond appropriately.
Thank you, because I found it rather confusing, and
Oh, and it was not-
Bethany
yeah.
helped me with it, but I was like, well, why are some signs 4, some 6? I mean, I'd rather see them.
But it was similar, I mean, Amita, I think, was, if I recall correctly, that was
There was a lot of
multiple
signs as
meetings, and
well.
it was complicated because
Yes.
of the same issue.
Yep.
It's a site with multiple entrances, multiple directional needs.
And very landlocked.
And then they had a corporate, branding that they wanted to use, and we weren't really in favor of that, so. Okay.
All right, so I do have, and is it in their packet, Bethany, this letter that I sent to the
Yes,
Board of
it is.
Trustees? At the bottom, it shows a summary of all the deviations.
Yeah,
So
it's-
like sign colors, signs 2, 3, 6, 8, and 10 have 10 colors. Signs 4 and 7, 9, 13 have 9 colors.
It's like at the very end.
Yeah, no, I know, sign 12
Okay.
has 8 colors.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's basically a breakdown of all the items that do not comply with code. Those would be variances that we'd be requesting
Correct.
for that. So, but we can certainly go through these. We did mail out notices to all of the neighbors.
Yeah, that was great.
It wasn't anything that was required, but obviously we want to be.
We thought we had 2.
I thought so. We,
Yeah.
we had some, we want to be good neighbors with, with something going on like this, and obviously, there's some changes going on that we thought may ruffle some feathers, so.
I appreciate you doing
Wanted to
that.
make them aware and see if we can talk through that and work through that with them, so. And I think Bethany said that nobody had voiced any concerns from the neighborhood.
One
They had one
resident came in to pick up a packet of the plans, but we've received no feedback or comments.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. All right, thanks.
All right,
Thanks, Gary.
so, just a brief summary, there are 11 freestanding signs on the campus. We're proposing to replace 10 of those and remove one of those signs. There's 11 wall signs, we're replacing 9 of those wall signs, and we're gonna remove one wall sign completely, and we're gonna leave one wall sign unchanged. There's 3 awnings on the campus. There are 2 that have graphics, 1 that is not. Those are gonna be reskinned to color change. And when those are reskinned, there'll be 1 with graphics and 2 without, so 2 blank. All of our illuminated signs will be on both dimmers and timers. They will be illuminated from dusk to dawn because the hospital is open from dusk to dawn. So it's important that those signs be visible. The fact that they're on dimmers, if it is approved for signs that need to be approved for illumination, we can certainly, if we get feedback from the neighbors that they're too bright, we have the option to turn those down. And the one wall sign that we'll get into does face a residence. We decided to make that halo lit as opposed to a full channel letter shining off the building. It's more of a halo lit to kind of soften that lumen's output towards their property line. So that all being said, we will get into our sign package. So sign 1 is the sign on the corner of, I'll go back to this currently sits right here on the corner. This is oak and walnut. What there now are these Amita signs here, down shown here, existing conditions. It is approximately 54.7 square feet. The new sign is a foot taller, and it's 63.3 square feet. We will remove this landscape area here with the retaining wall and just put in some landscaping, some zinnias and club begonias. That would be proposed. Usually they change those out per season, different perennials. I know Bethany had said that it might be a good idea to put in something that would be hardy in the winter. So we can certainly look at revising that landscape. Maybe something that doesn't get too tall, maybe some boxwoods or something, maybe a holly or something that would give it something there that in the winter time. So we can certainly look at revising those. This is an internally illuminated sign. So down in the lower left-hand corner, it does show kind of the night rendering. It's a aluminum face routed out, and the letters are pushed through. So the only the words are going to illuminate on this sign. It is an emergency directional, so we do have the emergency red on there with those arrows. And on the back side, it shows the parking, and then this, since this is kind of the main sign, we included the hospital wanted the receiving directional on there for people that are coming onto the campus so they know which direction to go. This does have a 7x7 landscape area around it, as I mentioned, and some of this landscaping would be on public property. However, ours does now, and we will continue to maintain that. So that's nothing new, and I can stop now and take any questions or comments on sign 1.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks, Gary. Scott?
You're bumping it by almost 3 feet in height. What was the reasoning for that?
It was 11 feet.
I thought it was 9.
That's the face. So the
face.
overall height was 11.
Thank you. Okay, got
And
it.
now, so we're going,
Yeah,
it's
now
going
I'm
up.
reading it right.
It's
Okay.
going up another foot.
Yeah.
They're setting it back a little bit further. They want some better visibility on that sign. They said that the height where it's at now, some of the wording as traffic goes by is being blocked. So they wanted to get that sign up a little bit higher in the air.
Blocked by the plantings down below or something?
Blocked by traffic
Oh.
that crosses in front of the sign.
Yep, I know where you are.
So in order to make that visible, they wanted to raise that a foot. And then obviously, this is another sign that is sitting in the right of way or in the public, over the property line. So this would be set back at 0 feet. So we would still need a variance, as I mentioned, for this, where the location is.
So the variance for this one is the setback?
Setback, sign colors,
Sign height.
sign height.
That's where I'd have to go back, Bethany. I'm not sure what happened, how this was even permitted back when, in
So,
17, because,
To clarify, with the 2017 plan for Amita that you guys reviewed, that was just a sign face change. That structure was always original. So realistically, when you have the existing structure, as you guys have reviewed certain cases recently, you're allowed to switch out the face for non-conforming signs. And if not, this is a planned development, so there truly is no variation associated with this. The waivers to the zoning code, you can look at them as a variation, but they're part of the planned development process. So that's the point of the planned development process, is it allows for some flexibility for unique conditions like a hospital that might be 2 square blocks, needs additional wayfinding. So they are waivers to the zoning code, and they're actually going to be identified in the final ordinance that would get approved by the board for a case like this.
as we go forward, because we're supposed to have this clear sight line of 100 feet from.
That would be something that would have to also be looked at.
Right, I think we'd want the fire and police to review that.
Yep.
Because just looking at where it currently is located and using the survey, just to clear that triangle, it would need to move over 19 feet to the southwest from where it currently is.
Correct.
So even if it was inside the property line, it's still gonna be, it's just odd that, well, maybe because it was just being refaced that it didn't come up.
It didn't come up.
Yeah,
It was like a
Yep.
BMO here, like what we
yeah,
did.
because
Yeah,
when we did the ones.
exactly.
Right. We
Yeah.
did the ones in north of Ogden, that Elm, I think it's on Elm, that medical facility.
Yep.
That was a big thing with the sight lines there on that intersection. Okay.
Yeah. I have not done a full calculation, because in this case, you guys are allowed to do it, but we can do that for next time of, the site triangle calculation and have them put that on here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
yeah. They are pushing it because they are moving it into the property line. Gary, how many feet is it being pushed in? Do you know that? I think it was on a 3 feet.
3 feet to the
So,
property line.
based
Yeah.
on where it is right now, it will be a little bit pushed further in. So that hopefully would help with 3 feet of visibility.
Right.
Other questions, comments? Well, let's talk about
I was
colors,
just
because
about to
colors,
say,
I mean,
the color thing, I mean, I'm looking at, you know, you got burgundy for UFC, right?
Mhm.
And then Medicine's black, Advent Health is blue, but then you got the colors in the little Advent Health dots, if I'm not mistaken.
does it show on this page how many colors there are?
It does not.
Is that something in the future you could add?
Um,
Well, hopefully, I mean, you might not need to. We tell you you can only use 4 colors.
Sure, we can do that.
I mean, I really think, I mean, this Advent was there, I mean, it was there for a while, lived with 4 colors, it reads clearly. I just think it's too many colors, I don't think it makes a difference. And I think it also just, for the village, opens up a huge can of worms. I mean, we went from 3 to 4 to assist Amita and the hospital in a unique situation. To go to 10 or, 6 or 5, I just think it's a bridge too far.
I agree with what Steve's saying completely. To me, it's more confusing. I like the signage you have at the Cancer Center, 908 North Elm, which is just black. I mean, this, I just think it's gonna make it harder for people to find out where they're going, and I think you need to have something, a color that's more uniform. I am not in favor of going more than 4 colors for any of the signs.
Okay.
I will be strongly opposed to any of those. So if you could maybe look at that again. We've had so many applications in front of us over the years where they
Sure.
want to do more than 3 colors, and it's always no, no, no.
Right.
And I think for the campus signage, you need something more uniform for your branding.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I definitely would if it were, the only difference is, like, Amita was one brand, but now we have U Chicago and Advent Health, and they're trying to put both of their brands out there, even though it's a partnership.
Can't help you with
They
that.
can do it on their stationery and their marketing.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna look at the signage and say, wait a minute, am I in the right place? There's
Yeah.
not 10 colors, it's just,
And-
Cleaner
and-
is
and back
better.
to Scott's comment about 12 feet versus 11, there's a lot of blank space on this sign. And,
good point.
like, I don't think you need to put the word Hinsdale in there. I mean, just be honest, I mean, if you don't know where you are, and it's so small, no one's gonna be able to read that from a car anyway, that I just think they can deal with the type sizes and design and still within the height of the existing sign, because it's massive right there. I mean, the current one is big. To go bigger, I just think is, 12 feet, that's like the height of the ceiling.
Yeah.
It's a really big sign, and I just think I would just challenge them to come back with a design that is simpler in colors and lives within 11-foot height.
Is the width the same?
Let's see.
No, the
It's
width,
it's a little narrower, because it was 6 feet wide. The
Correct.
existing sign, 6 feet wide.
Which
So
is
you
gonna
could
make
always,
it look even taller if it's narrower.
yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
right.
If you could go back to the roots, when it was like the sanitarium, like 100 years ago or so, that would be nice.
The sanitary.
But I think you also need to remember,
That's when you know you're old school
you're-
town.
Well, that's what everybody still
The
calls
sand.
it. It's adjacent to residential, there's the parkland around there. I think you need to keep in with the character of the area. It's too much clutter with all the colors.
To me, the color that stands out the most, probably because it's the biggest swath, would be the red emergency. And I think that's entirely appropriate because because this is the hospital main campus. It's not the Cancer Center, it's not 908 North Elm. And so having emergency called out in a different, and preferably red, like that really gets people's attention. And the rest of it could be simplified, I think.
I agree with the emergency, that can all.
But one thing related to that comment, on the night view, could the
Yeah.
emergency letters be in red? It would seem like, I don't know if it's possible, but it seems like,
Red
in the night view, this doesn't work.
Could you do red
it's true.
bulbs in the? I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't want
I would want that to
I'm pretty
jump out.
sure, but
I mean, it's pretty well illuminated intersection. I mean,
I thought the same.
I don't think it's that dark there.
Not the exact
I don't think you ever really see it like this, but I'd be curious maybe to look at what it's like when it's nighttime, because here, like, U Chicago's red.
Because I want to say 908 North Elm, one of them we did, they're black letters in the day, but they are white, they illuminate
Oh,
white
they
at
changed?
night,
Okay.
so.
I'd be just curious if you could.
I
'cause
I am an expediter, I don't design
Oh, okay.
signs.
I didn't know if you were a
But I'm
sign
pretty
guy.
sure it could probably be done, but
Okay.
I can definitely take that comment back to them. We're gonna be back anyway, so,
Okay, thanks.
all right.
Anna?
Any other
did you
thing
have
on
comments?
sign one?
It's too tall, too many colors. I mean, everything
Okay.
that's been said.
Okay. All right, so number one, basically, too tall, we could get it to 11 feet. We need to investigate, and it's basically from the intersection, you measure 100 feet in each direction and then connect the dots, and it needs to be clear of that. If not, it would need to be a variance, and I would want the fire department and police department to chime in on that, because it's really a safety issue. I don't know if we've ever had any issues here. That would be ironic, place to have an accident. I mean, it's just convenient.
But now with that bridge as a, I know it's a four-way stop, right?
With more traffic now.
But the
yeah.
There's a lot
traffic with
more
it being a
traffic.
thoroughfare over the bridge has changed things since
Yeah.
the last one was done, maybe. I
Oh, yeah,
don't
because,
know.
ambulances didn't come over the bridge. They couldn't.
Right.
Right, and now they can.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
they can,
So now you've got a different situation from a sightline and a traffic flow perspective.
So maybe Bethany, if you can just reach out to them and see what their comments are.
Yeah. First thing is to see where that site triangle hits
Yeah.
and how this fits into it. So we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I had,
thanks.
I had height, site triangles, colors, and I think that was the overall.
Correct.
All right, and just to be clear on the four, are we talking
Emergency.
four and the emergency red? Are we just talking?
Yeah,
four?
red is included, because I know that was one of the colors that.
Okay,
for
so
Anita.
the red is one of the colors.
The background, if it's a white sign, if it's a background color, it doesn't count.
Correct, if it's white or black as a background color.
Right, so, that's where.
And the current signage does have a red band
Correct.
for emergency. The one thing our code does not allow, this is a planned development though, but our code doesn't allow illumination for the background. It can only be the sign copy. So only the text emergency could be red, not the background.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I
just
think
to
that's
clarify.
important. That's a
Okay.
good catch.
Yeah. Well,
I
that's
think
a
it's more
challenge then.
confusing, all the colors too. I mean, and just driving by it, it's,
Right.
I'm at this blue one or this blue, it's just too confusing.
Okay.
And was there landscaping? Should that be included? Like four-season landscaping? Was that one of the signs that had a large area?
Yeah, are we approving
I
the?
mean, that could be a general comment. I mean, I
For
thought,
all, okay.
that to consider it in the winter. Some of the ones that are really close to drives, like going into the garage, and everything, I don't think it's gonna make,
Right,
it's gonna be
right.
full of snow if it does snow. But something like this is very visible in the landscaping we look at.
In the hospital, they always do a wonderful job with landscaping.
Yeah, they do. They are a good neighbor. Okay, number
All
two.
right.
I
Sign-
actually-
Two down.
Can I
One
just
down.
say, I actually think that with the
19.
track that you're on, the sign is gonna look better than what's there right now. It's gonna be cleaner and, just easier to read.
Oh, I got you.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a big push back when Amita did this, was to have buildings identified in the medical field, like B3
Right.
and P, and that, now they're going back away from that. So,
I think it depends on the type of campus too, because some medical campuses, you can really see the distinct buildings, and if there's a big, A or C or something, like Downers Grove is like that, and there's a series of buildings there, and it actually helps, because if you know you're going to D and you're looking at
Right.
A, you're not, okay,
Right.
this- LaGrange is like
Yeah.
that, they have letters in the building, but this is really kind of one big building, which is the hospital, and then some support buildings.
sure. All right, so sign two, this is a 7-foot tall sign currently, and it would be replaced with an 8-foot tall sign And the existing square footage is about 29 square feet, and we're going to 33. Sign 2 would be looking at a setback variance. It would be looking at a sign color variance, of course.
This is the one by the front entrance?
Correct, by the main.
Correct, right by the, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
got it,
right
just
here.
to the north of it, yep.
So this is the same sort of thing, illumination with the emergency, only
Right.
the difference is on this one, they didn't illuminate the U Chicago Medicine and Advent Health word letters up there, because once they get on campus, they kind of know where they are, we felt at night, so.
Okay.
And this one, make sure I got the setbacks right.
This is sign 2.
And Gary, would that be, like we talked about sign colors, so hopefully we simplify that, and if it's 4 colors, it doesn't need to be.
Right, yeah,
But if you could put, you know how you have this nice summary on
Yeah,
the
this is,
right-hand side, if there was a setback, any kind of like variance issue, just have a little verbiage there, I think it would be helpful when we approve this, because each one, like sign 2, we would know what that is,
okay.
versus having to refer to a letter or something like that. I just think underneath that nice summary you have, that would be
Yeah,
great.
we put it on here,
Where's-
on page, should be in your packet on page 5. We summarized all the signs and the landscaping and the setback and what the existing landscape is. And
This
what
is
the
a
new-
0 setback, this is on the line then.
It
and
is
should
currently
be-
now, and it
And it
would-
should be 10, so that's the variances there,
Correct.
is what it says, okay.
Yes.
Cool. And the height's going to 8 feet, and it's currently at 7.
Okay, Laurel, comments? Thoughts about height? It's currently 7 feet, and they're proposing 8. And I think this one's even, in my opinion, this would be easier to make this 7 because there's less text. There's plenty of room. to-
Look at the gray in the bottom.
Yeah, there's ton
Yeah.
of room. And you're on a flat
Yeah.
area here.
Gary, what is the reason for going to 8 feet rather than 7?
They were trying to make everything uniform with the sign. Some of the signs on Amita are 8, some of them are 7, some are 11. So they went, the main ID, they wanted to go a little bit taller. And the other ones are just kind of try to bring all into the same uniform height.
Okay.
At least that's the rationale that they gave me, so.
That makes, okay.
So it's a little narrower.
Yeah, it's not as wide of a sign.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more of it's a different design. It's more of a narrow and tall. Again, the hope is to try to get the text up another few inches above traffic and.
Cynthia?
Yeah, it's just the height and the color, and I know you need to get the text up, there's not that much on there, but, and I know you're trying to have a
There we go.
equal size without things looking out of proportion, but again, I think the narrower they get and the taller they get, they're gonna look like monoliths everywhere.
Stonehenge.
Stonehenge, there we go. Rename it again, add another color. Brown.
Those are great.
Yeah,
So-
that's it.
Julie?
Height and colors.
Height and color? Anna?
Same.
Same? Scott?
Just a clarification, just to maybe simplify life. Sign 2 is lumped together from a setback standpoint with 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Correct.
Are there any signs of a similar size to sign 2 so that we can move this along a little faster? Or is every single sign that we're gonna look at different and we're kind of doing all that again? In other words, is there continuity from your perspective on the signs so that they look uniform in size and then we get one, then we can nail a bunch of them.
So like signs 2 and 3, sign
similar, yeah.
8, and 2, 3, 8, and I think that's it. So we get into the wall and the awning signs. So
Yeah,
as far as
that's right.
freestanding signs,
Right.
2, 3, 8.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
No problem.
So maybe
It's a
for
good
those,
idea,
they're all
yeah.
the same, so we'd like to match, have the existing height, which is, match the existing height at the 4 colors.
Right, so let's reduce the independent variables going here, make them all the same, and then we can look at setbacks as another issue, right?
Correct. Okay.
Just trying to expedite.
Can I add one suggestion for the plans coming forward as well? For this particular sign, which is kind of, the lot line is weird, right? So in most cases, when you guys review signs for the setback generally aligns with the sidewalk. And so that's how we think about it, right? Of that's where that property line is. In this case, though, the property line is actually pushed in from the sidewalk a bit. So something that might be visually helpful as well is maybe thinking about it like the property line is pushed in a bit, and maybe also adding a dimension or a clarifying information about where it is from the sidewalk versus an imaginary line that we don't quite know where it falls.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
I would.
Because I know that's one thing to think about if you think of a 0-foot setback, that would be right on a sidewalk typically.
Right,
But also, like, they're setting back from themselves.
Correct.
I mean, they're across the street.
Yes.
You know, so like, if you might recall, we did Salt Creek Lane, there, the property line's the middle of the road. So
Right.
things are really screwy there,
Yes,
because the
that's another
setback
weird case.
kind of gets you to the curb.
Right.
You know, so.
And it doesn't make sense. in
Yeah,
that
it doesn't
case.
make sense, but
Yeah.
in a way, this is, I personally think the setbacks are less important here. The safety issue about the intersection, I think
Yes.
that's separate, but it's not like there's houses across from them on this property here, along this area. It's really a campus. You know, if they're across, and, you know, it's been there a long time. And it's odd that setback, the property line's further off the street on the west side than it is on the east side.
Right.
So we'll skip 3, if everybody's okay with that, because
Yeah.
it's similar. and- So 4, sign 4 is, go back to the set of plan here. Show you. Sign 4 is just across the street, so the interior of the campus.
Correct.
4. It's a little dark.
Should be on page 9 of your brand book if.
Yeah,
So this is a non-illuminated sign, and the existing sign square footage was 17.8. This is a little bit bigger, it's 21.8. The design is different as well. It was more of like a post and panel sign that was there before with a little bit of visibility underneath, where they've kind of brought this down into a one uniform monolith sign and then added more area for what's there with the address. Then again, this would not illuminate at night, and the landscaping will remain the same. And as far as the setback goes, again, that one has 9 colors, which we'd have to request, we know we gotta change that.
there's no setback issue here though, is there?
No, it's basically, it's in
It's
the public
interior.
right of way.
Yeah,
But again, it's on that part of the street they're on both sides.
right,
And this is where all the nurses and the staff walk across.
yeah.
So this is, I'm glad it's 4 feet high, because the average eye level is 5 feet. It's wider than the previous one, but,
It's infinitely better looking than what's there now.
yeah, and it's low enough that people should be able to see cars come in.
Yeah,
And there's a marked pedestrian walk there, so people tend to park or stop.
Yeah,
I
the
think
overall
other than-
height before was 6 feet, which I'm not sure
yeah.
why it was that tall, but
Yeah, which was probably too tall.
it probably was. with
Yeah.
Car and pedestrians there, but.
My only thing, the Tupper, 119 Tupper Hall, I'm not sure that, it's just so low to the ground. I don't know that someone's gonna read that. I don't know if it could be, you know, the Tupper Hall could be next to the 119 or something to get it up just, 6 inches or
Oh,
so.
sure. I can definitely talk to them about that.
Because it's really right down on the gravel.
Should there be arrows on that? Looking at the other signs for guidance, because signs 1, 2, and 3 all have arrows on them. I'm just wondering if that makes sense from a,
Are there numbers on the buildings? That's what I was wondering, and maybe you can see it in Street View.
I don't believe there are.
I mean, there must be a reasoning there. I don't know if, like Tupper Hall, I think that's staff. So they probably know where they're going.
I'll ask about the arrows.
Yeah,
yeah, not a request, more of a,
curiosity.
Curiosity, yes. Any other questions on sign 4?
Anyone else on 4? No?
Sign 5 is just removal only. This is getting torn out, so unless anybody's opposed.
We object to that.
It has to stay.
Steve wants it for his house.
We can arrange that.
Well, and actually, later when you see how they're changing the sign that says walk-in
Yes.
to emergency,
Yeah.
I think that's much more effective, because you know that you're going towards the emergency, and it's right there.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're in really dire straits, you can park the car and walk in.
Where is it?
It's on the north side, it's on Walnut,
Oh, got it, yep,
right,
yep, I see it.
where
Upper
the
left-hand
entrance used
corner.
to be for
Yeah,
emergency.
yeah.
So that's removal, that one's good. And then the next one's the, kind of the emergency entrance.
Yes, so sign 6 is double-faced illuminated. Again, with the directional arrow, was 16.8 square feet before with kind of a monolith, just emergency. They added corporate branding and directional arrow and emergency in the Copland Center.
Right.
To that, so it's went from 16.8 to 49.2 on the square footage. And the height was 6 feet, and it will remain at 6 feet.
And this one, I just wonder if the branding and the emergency should be flipped, because
Yeah, I agree.
looking
I
for
agree.
emergency is gonna be more
That's-
important than the branding.
Yeah, we got a snowfall, and
Yeah,
that's buried.
it's, I would just think that the red should be at the top, and then especially as you pull in, there's additional branding. I'm just concerned that it doesn't stand out enough. I mean, the existing sign is just a huge red sign that says emergency. So I would just ask them to consider that.
Okay.
Would you want it to remain that way?
I think at that point,
I
you
think-
really want to know where to turn in.
That's what I mean. Do you really need all the branding, or is
Yeah,
it
you're
just,
not-
here's
you're
the
not-
emergency you need to get here?
This isn't
You're
looking
in an
for parking.
emergency situation, you don't care about brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hospital.
You just want to be saved.
Yeah. And I think you'll find, yeah, oh, no, it's not this right brand.
Right.
Let's keep driving.
I like it the way it is.
Well, the
I
only
thought this
thing
was
about,
Amita.
Yeah.
the only thing about putting emergency at the top is all of the other signs that we've talked about thus far have the branding at the top.
No, but like, look at the previous one. It's just nothing but emergency on the top right.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that sufficient? By now you know you're on the campus, right?
Yeah, because you've seen signs, if you're coming from Walnut, you've seen signs multiple times coming around the corner. There's a sign on a brick wall at the corner, and if you're coming from, say, the Simmons Drive, there's the signs that you're gonna be seeing coming, you know,
And
so,
there's 2 ways in from Simmons Drive, too.
right, so by the
Right,
time you get to
right.
here, would just be worried, like even that rendering with the landscaping, it's, I just,
Yeah, I can,
just ask them maybe to consider
Maybe
a different
redesign.
concept, yeah.
yeah.
To make the emergency the most visible, in whatever way they want to do it. It could be a different design, it's something that's more visible.
Would you ever consider leaving that, just to say emergency?
I
Since there's
think,
so much branding there.
yeah, I
already,
think
what do you
they would, other than that Amita, the bottom of that
As
is
a
like
cross.
Amita cross,
Yeah.
the base of the sign. But
Well, yeah, ask them.
I can
Or the
talk to them about
cross.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that was a big deal when I.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
making an
I see.
adjustment, but just the simplicity of that red
That was a cool
sign.
little detail.
Yeah,
They're
my
very-
other thought,
yeah.
and
Okay.
is just
Gotta get the-
put emergency at the top
gotta
and
get
make the
the
bottom
cross
red
in.
as
Yeah,
well,
get
just
the
have it all
cross.
red.
Yeah,
And take the branding off.
I mean, because you really, when you get to here and you see the
Catholic
red
sign.
sign.
That way you
with
still
the
have the
cross,
same,
you know
you
you're
still have the
getting
same design, sign design throughout the campus, but
Yes.
it just says emergency on it.
at- Yeah.
Is,
See, nice.
the Copeland Center is more than just the emergency department, right?
Yes,
So does
church
having
in town.
Copeland Center on here along with emergency, does that create any confusion?
Well, you'll see in the further, there's Copeland sign name, it must have been a donation, so it's a named
Right.
emergency room.
But it's on the building.
It's on the
There.
building,
It's on
and
the
maybe
building,
if you
it's right
lost,
there.
if you lost it here, it would give you more design flexibility, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
And you're gonna see it, when you get
it's
there.
like right there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's.
I
I've been in
think that one, that corner has the evergreens
Yes, there's a lot
on
of.
the corner, and then the
This is on
building is
that.
like, sits down well below
Right.
the road, so.
Yeah, so that lettering is almost, because it goes down, it's almost in front of you.
Yeah, I can definitely take that back to them, see if that can be changed.
Thanks, Gary.
And then there's the parking right there too. I know you can't do anything about this, but the last couple times I've had to go to the emergency room, there's never any parking spaces. Maybe they could put emergency room parking only. I mean, I don't know who's parking there.
I don't know.
But it's going to be problematic, I think.
Yeah, it always has been.
You have a parking issue.
I do have a parking issue, but no,
I'm teasing
like,
you.
well, like last year, a couple
Can't
times,
park
I
at
was,
my meat plan commission
I
meetings.
was there with, some other
But that's the
people.
village board parking for
That's
commissioners.
what we need, and I was like, and the emergency room wasn't full. It just makes me wonder if people are parking there, who should not be parked there.
Oh,
Never,
There's a-
people don't do that.
Well, anyway.
I know, but they
it's
go,
just my
I went in
one-
that emergency room, I don't know, a year or so ago. I mean, it was packed. There's not enough parking spaces for all those people.
There isn't,
you
but
know.
like the last couple times I was there, the room was not packed, but there was no parking.
Yeah. I think it's just,
It's-
you know, it's a small little area, and if you really fill the ER, you have to park in the garage.
Well, what I should do is just walk.
To your emergency, from your emergency, I'm bleeding.
Drag yourself along. Is there a sign isn't there one that says emergency room parking only? I
Probably.
mean, now there's probably some little sign nobody pays
The
attention
last
to.
couple
but-
times I've been there, I have not been able to get a spot, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, well,
But it's-
we'll have to go take a look at that.
We need to keep you away from the emergency room.
Yes, yes.
It's never for me. It's always for somebody else. I'm like, I'm on my way.
She takes care of
I'm on my
everybody.
That one, I mean, the comment would just be the visibility of emergency, but we're open to ideas.
Right, yeah, no, that's fine. I'll definitely take that back to them. I think I was telling Laurel that maybe just putting emergency at the top and making that red and then having the bottom red blank. So it's kind of similar to this design, but it's this format.
Absolutely.
Hey, Gary?
Yes,
On the same thing that we did for signs 2, 3, and 8, I think 4 and 7 are the same size, is that correct? Any other ones?
sign 4 and 7.
Yeah, 4 is just a little, you'd see 4 or 7 before you saw
Yes,
Any other ones
6.
on that same kind of,
4, 7, 9.
no?
No, we kind of get into parking.
Yeah.
Those are pretty innocuous.
Yeah, 9's a little bit different.
you're like 9, you get away, you're basically driving into the garage.
Yeah. I just was asking.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Sign 7, similar.
I'd say 7's fine, other than the color, right?
Yeah, other than the color, right?
Or 7 in the center.
It's just down Elm from the emergency entrance.
Yep.
Right there.
Okay, yep.
I get setback.
And then,
Variance is setback on that too, right? That's it.
Yes. They're at 0 and they would be 0 is the same, so the setback would be the same.
Yep.
They may end up going a little bit further, like a foot, once we do the locate of the utilities and see what's there, but,
yeah, it's kind of tough.
we're gonna try to get it more off the property line as we can. But still at the same time have it visible to the motorists, so.
But again, there, it looks like the property line is inset from the sidewalk
Right.
by several feet.
Sign 8, that's similar to signs 2, 3, and 2 and 3.
It's 2 feet taller.
It's 8 feet. Taller than the existing? Yes. And the reasoning is because this is kind of a post and panel. There's more information on this one, on this face.
6, 7.
And we're just afraid if we go 6 feet, we're not gonna get the information on there. Because it's basically inside this area right here behind this brick. And once you go around that corner, the road,
Gary, if I remember when we talked about this sign, it was 4.5 feet outside of the right of way, and
Yes.
the wall is blocking the views of it.
yeah, the
Right.
wall
Oh, the
steps
wall is
down.
blocking,
If you
okay.
actually,
so
you
I
can
can
kind of
just-
see it in that rendering there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where they, and I only know this because Gary and I spoke a lot about this sign. You can kind of see they left a lot of the text out of the bottom of this sign because as you're turning that corner, you wouldn't see that from that
Black.
wall, and because it's being pushed 4.5 feet in behind the wall, whereas right now it's not.
Okay.
I think that makes sense to,
Yeah.
So a little
Make it a
height
little
there
higher
is
there.
okay, yeah.
yeah,
That makes sense.
okay.
And that one's non-illuminated, so sign 8, we would just have colors.
Colors, right.
Sign 9 is a non-illuminated directional. Overall height on the existing sign is 6 feet, it's kind of that same design, the post and panel design, and we're
Right.
going to a 4-foot tall monolith directional.
Sir, where is 9, I'm sorry, on
That's
the-
right.
It's right as you go in the garage.
Yeah.
It's where? Oh, here it is,
Right
thank
here.
you.
Yep.
It's just, yeah, okay, that's on property then, all right.
Right.
Yep.
Anyone have any issues with that one other than color?
No.
No? Okay, so 9's good except color.
Here. Yeah, that's fine.
And does the P1 refer to
The parking garage,
parking, like the first level of parking?
that's a fantastic question that I don't know the answer
That's a
to.
good point, because it's lower than the other side.
Your
Is that
intuition seems like
P1?
it's correct.
Yeah.
Like level 1, yes, but I don't know that for certain.
Okay,
But I will ask.
Yeah, because it's, that garage, you enter it, this is on the lowest level,
right.
and then if you're on Oak Street, you're entering up at the upper level.
Mhm.
Right.
And a finding,
Where's
this was,
sign 10?
So parking 2 is the next sign, and that's all the way over, like, by,
Oh, across
You don't-
from the church
yeah.
parking lot.
right.
yeah,
So that's how they're delineating the parking.
oh, parking garage 1, parking garage 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
But,
To clarify, the proposed sign does not have P2, only the former sign has P2.
right. I
Yeah.
was about to say
Yeah,
that.
because I guess, maybe there was confusion because looks like now all the staff would park in P2 and the visitors are in P1.
Maybe they're trying not to.
Team member part.
Yeah, we're not team members.
So maybe you don't
We're
even
parking
need
in the wrong garage.
Maybe you don't need the P1 at all.
Yeah, because you'll know when you're in there, right?
Good point.
I'll get clarity on that.
Yeah, just see, non-team member, right?
Well, thinking about having been in P1, doctors park in there as well. You know, some of the parking is reserved for doctors
In P1?
in P1 as well as guests.
Yeah.
So
And P2 is probably for support staff and
team member is,
Those are
yeah,
team.
probably support staff.
They're on the team, but they're
Members of the team.
I think the first
not
two
the
rows
they're on
are
the special teams,
Physician part.
not a starter.
It's a person running in the rain here.
I see that. And finally, there was a tradition at Enzo Santo going to watch seniors watching sunrise, like by the time, just before they graduate, on the upper deck of that parking garage.
Really?
Really? I
How
don't
long
Yeah.
has that been going on?
I think it was sunset or sunrise. I think it was sunrise. They get donuts, go there, there's no one really there, and they'd park there and watch the sun come up,
Nice. Cool.
and then get to school late.
Sign 10, it's another non-illuminated directional with the emergency arrow. It would also require, it's a 0-foot setback, so it'd still be the same. And it is shown here.
Is that a, help me out, Steve, because if you look at the road, look
It's over here.
on 10 in the
Yeah.
lower right-hand corner, look at the road and where the sign is and setbacks there. Is there any safety issues from that perspective?
No, because it only applies to intersections of public roads.
I'm just saying, if someone's coming out of there and they can't see that pedestrian there,
Maybe ask the applicant,
If it's a kid
the
on a
existing
bike.
sign's right there now, right?
the existing sign,
Is there now.
That's the same overall height. It's
Same
6
height,
foot.
same location.
same height, exact same location?
Just a
If
little
anything,
wider.
ours is, that's gonna be, the new sign will be more on the proper, more by like a foot. But we called out as 0 because we don't know exactly where it's gonna go until the utilities are located.
Right.
Yeah, the overall height is 6 feet on both. Doesn't look, it doesn't.
Maybe, have you communicated with the hospital on this process, Bethany? Or is it really just with Gary through expediting this?
I think I've spoke with the hospital, especially when we were dealing with One Salt Creek, in terms of this. Yep.
I mean, to Scott's point, I'd maybe just ask them about this, if they have any concerns about sight lines and pedestrians and cars
Okay.
at this,
Just because you can, I mean, this is on the way to Pierce Park.
correct, yeah.
You got kids on bikes and things like that, and these electric bikes that kids are flying around on right now, they can go uphill at, 25 miles an hour. I just don't want to see somebody get picked up.
Yeah, we can ask them if there's ever been any incidents here as well, and they might be able to tell us that.
Right. And that's good for business.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was a good one.
Sorry.
You're really close. The emergency room's that way.
That's right. No, I will ask them. So this is the, sign 11 is the plate letters where it says Amita now on the brick wall. We're going to change that to U Chicago. It is 2 colors, black and white.
Any comments on this one?
I think we can approve this.
Want to add some color?
It's one I was okay with.
Right.
Okay, 11.
Sign 12, this is the existing condition, this is over the parking garage, the Copland Pavilion. So this shows Amita Health down here now. And then the Copland Pavilion. Basically, we would be adding, trying to get this more uniform looking, there's different font sizes and
Right.
some of the text is hard to read, so adding the branding here, changing out for Amita, and then just putting main entrance a little bit larger in Copland.
Does this just be colors?
the only thing I would just wonder is, do you flip Copland Pavilion and main entrance, since that is the main entrance, right? You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing about that is that Copland Pavilion is different than Copland Center. Yes? So like on sign one, it has Copland Center going towards the emergency room
Right.
and main entrance the other way. Well, this is the main entrance and this is Copland Pavilion. That's not Copland. It's confusing. What's Copland Center and what's Copland Pavilion? And it seems to be two different things.
And there's also Copland Emergency. I was wondering the
That's
same
maybe
thing.
what
There's
that
three
Copland-
different.
Yeah. So Copland's, I
Well,
get,
this was
there's
the
probably
most
name rights that
recent
you can't
addition, yes.
change and all that, but, it is, if I had never been to the hospital before, I would be very confused which Copland I was going to.
Yeah.
Copland
I'll-
Center, yeah, it's-
I'll bring it up and ask them if
Yeah,
they could somehow.
I don't know.
Well, maybe to.
The feedback is good because obviously they spent lots of time on it, think this looks good, but
Right.
they
Well,
kind
maybe
of know
like
where
Scott's
everybody,
idea of
everything is.
Flipping them, so it says main entrance on the right, and then Copland. Maybe that would make it more clear, because you're looking for the main entrance, and then Copland's secondary. It's in second, you know,
And that's what he was saying, to put main
yeah,
entrance.
main entrance is to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah, flip those two.
Yeah.
I think it would make more
that's what I was
sense.
saying.
So they could just consider that, flipping the location of main entrance and Copland Pavilion.
You did?
Is there a reason that Copland Pavilion has to be that large of letters? Because it's an increased size, right? I mean, what you really want to know is here's the main entrance. And yeah, flipping it, I think, helps, but will it stay that size? The lettering?
Well, one's existing channel letters to remain. Oh,
Yeah, Copland is there now.
yeah,
Right.
those are existing.
So that is
Scott.
existing that
Yeah.
size?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So main entrance would just be,
It's very busy.
I would just,
Yeah.
It's
like,
so
you've got,
busy. I agree.
keep the branding
Confusing.
all to the left, and then get your fonts kind of lined up so the branding sets with each other,
Good idea.
right?
Keep the
Doesn't that
branding
make sense?
together.
Keep your branding together and keep all the, you know, whatever you come up with as far as your font sizes to make it look advantageous for all three brands.
right.
And then main entrance is a directional thing that should be above the road.
Right. And
Yep.
kind of separate those then, yeah, because
And
this
then
is
that
just.
font size can be maybe different because you're offering direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I
know. I'm just
believe-
throwing
No,
it out
it's
there for
true.
food
The
for
existing
thought.
conditions look, as they are, it's not great.
It's choppy.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe that's a panel, I think with push-through letters, so I may be able to pull that off and slide it down. I'll
Okay,
find out.
thank you.
This is just more of the side view of sign 12, how far they project.
Yeah.
All right, so sign 13, 14 are the same dimensions. They're just replacing existing, same size, 16 square feet.
Hang on, 13, 14,
I think 13, 14 seem fine. Anyone, any issues on 13, 14?
14, same sign, same, yeah.
15's pretty
Way
basic.
better looking.
Yeah.
That goes to your P1.
That's using color.
Yeah, now
But
you're
the
in
P1's kind of like the leaf in Advent Health. So,
See, but the existing conditions one indicates physicians, like where they park versus where the visitors park.
Oh, yeah.
And handicapped on the bottom level, that's not all bad.
They might have existing signage in the parking
Inside their
garage,
garage.
but they don't have to provide it as part of this because it's not on the exterior.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, there
Okay.
was some signage they originally gave us on the inside and like even on the inside of
Inside of the
the
building,
lobby.
yeah.
And that's not something we would be reviewing. So they might have internal wayfinding.
Got it, okay.
That's good to know.
One would hope so.
I would
because-
hope so.
Well, no, I mean, it's frustrating if
Where do I park?
you
Right.
have an appointment and you're trying to find parking and you're just,
Looping.
circling and everything says physician, 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 you know?
Yep.
I mean, nobody likes that.
That's when you pretend to be a physician?
Yes.
That's when you use valet parking.
Dr.
Oh,
Harlan?
yeah, valet.
There you go.
18,
back to the entrance.
They're all the same.
Yep.
Sign 15,
15 's pretty basic, 16.
15, 16, 17, 18 are
17.
kind of, they're just different verbiage on there.
Yeah,
Cleaned up made it more visible with the, increased the font size and took away all the colors.
Is that branding on the left of the existing on those? I can't see
I
it.
believe it
It's
is.
the candle.
which one are you looking
Oh,
at?
is it? Yeah, no, that's,
Yeah,
this is great. Happy with that.
see, Evan can.
So,
19A and 19B are just reskinning the awnings for the
Right.
Family Medicine Center.
On the map, I see 19, but I don't see A and B and delineated. I don't understand how that's all working. So if you could point that out, that would be great.
Let me go back to that, so.
So they're both at,
They're both in the Family Medicine Center.
okay.
They just, there's two separate awnings that are being, but I can definitely clean that up on the site plan, which one is where.
Oh, and Gary, one thing I noticed in the site plan, on sign 12, it doesn't have an arrow. It's kind of floating over across the street.
Which is okay.
On this, at least on this one, the color one, there was no arrow.
Oh, I see that.
Okay.
Was there an arrow on the other one? Oh, on the,
Well, 19's
Yeah,
pointing
yeah.
at that building.
Sign 12, the arrow points across the street at the garage.
On this site plan,
But not on the
but
color
on the
one.
color rendering, we forgot to put the
Oh, not
arrow on
color.
there.
Got it, okay.
yeah, that was what I was, thank you.
Add arrow to page 3.
So Gary, this is just going from the color with the candle to the black and white that we see
On 19.
on 19A,
Yep.
and then you're going from burgundy to black?
Correct. Yeah, it's
Issues on
exact same size, they're just reskinning
canvas?
the existing structure.
Canopy's all good?
Yep.
Those are fine.
Good.
20 is a wall sign being removed,
Okay.
and there's that logo, whatever it was.
That's right.
Sign 21 is another awning, but it's being reskinned and no graphic, no text is going on it. So it'll just be black from
Okay.
burgundy. Sign 22. So this is the Chicago Advent where it says Copland Emergency and Trauma Center up here. They put the branding up here and then moved Copland Emergency and Trauma Center, made a new sign to put down here.
That's the view from the street.
These are halo lit channel
That's
letters.
the existing sign at 27 feet,
Okay.
but it's 12 feet down.
12 feet down, so they
Yeah.
want to move it up, or?
No, they want to put it in the same spot,
The same.
replace it.
Okay.
Yes.
But it doesn't, that's where, when you said 27 feet, okay, that is high, but it's 12 feet below this street.
Okay.
So it doesn't
it's-
look so high,
it's-
because I was like, man, it seemed like it was lower than that.
And I was looking for it, I was
Yeah.
like, where is it?
That's why it's confusing.
Okay,
Steve, say that again?
Like, this is the view from Elm looking towards the emergency room.
Yeah.
And it says, and in that view, you can barely see Copland
Yeah.
Center.
Yeah.
But it's 12, the entrance to the emergency is 12 feet below the street. So even though the sign's 27 feet above the ground, it's not really. It's like
Yeah.
15 feet above the ground.
Because grade's below.
Yeah, and with all these evergreens and stuff, you can
It's-
barely see it.
yeah,
I mean, you
the
can't see it until you
landscaping.
drive down that road.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys see this view. That's what it looks like from Elm, looking down the emergency drive.
Right.
And in that view is this big channel, everything is Copland Center, but you can't barely see it.
Yeah.
Barely, yeah.
And even though it's seen high by our sign standards, we don't allow stuff 27 feet up. I think
Because it's
it
low.
makes sense because it's so low. It's certainly not visible.
No, it's like the P1 parking. It's
There's something about this new, I like it better actually, the new setup.
The way it's set, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're adding this, what you're doing is you're adding in the branding of UFC and Advent
Correct.
that didn't exist before, and you're moving
Yes, that,
Copland down.
that is, yes, 22 would be a new wall sign.
Yeah.
And
It was not there.
Run this by the Copland
Or
family?
I guess if you, 23 would be a new wall sign.
Run it by the Copland family, see?
Should we have them stop by? It's all halo lit, right?
This is halo illuminated, yes,
First,
versus a stark channel letter that would,
Yeah, I actually think it looks better. And that was probably one of the few signs that didn't get changed when Amita went in there.
Correct, and it's
'Cause it
quite
had-
old. You
Yeah, it
can-
had the green from the previous
Yep.
concept.
I mean, she's like,
I think it's been there for some time.
right. I just thought it was cool.
and Copland sign 20, or I guess if anybody have any questions on 22? As far
No, and
as-
that's, in the nighttime view, I think, where was it? I appreciate you,
It's cleaner.
I appreciate them doing that, even though the neighbor could barely see this anyway.
So but 23 is the, yeah, so 22 is the new one.
22 basically replaces the Copland sign at the top, and then 23 is new, in a new location below, even though it says
Yeah,
Copland.
Yeah.
right. So we'd be approving a new sign and the
Right.
location secondary, yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay, cool.
And they're halo lit. The previous Copland wasn't halo, it was,
This, yeah, channel.
Internally illuminated
Yeah.
channel letters.
Internally, yeah,
it'll look better.
yeah. I mean, the nighttime view looks pretty,
And again, it'll still be on a dimmer, so if,
Right.
even halo lit, if it's still too bright, we can,
I was
Turn it
looking
down.
that up, and Bethany, you're always so kind to put that thing in there, the 50-foot candles, and it's based on the dimension of the sign. Did you guys ever go and measure those?
We do not. And I'm not tall enough to measure this.
So-
We do have a light reader, though, that if we notice something or get a complaint, we would go out and measure.
Okay.
Yep.
I know Rob wanted to get a new one too,
And
right?
we might need a new one. We're taking donations.
Okay.
they do have an app for your phone.
I've heard
Really?
that. But you still got to get the reader for it. I don't know how.
My iPhone will do it just off the camera.
I don't know how
Is that very
sensitive
accurate?
and accurate those are. I drop my phone a lot, too.
It used to be a half-a-foot candle, now it's,
Yeah.
24, we looking at that?
they're just leaving the one that says emergency.
24 we're leaving as is.
How is that lit?
Right now, it's internally illuminated.
Is that preferred for this situation, given
I
what
think
it is?
so,
I think
yeah.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
we want
Just
that
give-
to,
I'm just asking the question.
I kind of feel like
Change it to make it more brighter or anything?
this might be blocked by the trees, too.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I don't think you can see this
Yeah,
from
you don't, it's down.
Walnut.
Could
I
it be
think-
moved and become more visible if it's,
Well, it's, the next one I
needed.
think is interesting, the next page, 25. Because this is the one, the walk-in entrance, that was not replaced back in 2017. And I think it makes more sense for it to say emergency versus
Yeah, for
walk-in
sure.
Rather
entrance.
than walking, right?
And I think if someone's driving and they see that, they're gonna know where to go.
I'm sorry, but it's like, the door's there. You're going to walk in
Okay.
through the door, not drive in.
Walk forward, please.
I don't need to be told what to do, just tell me where to go.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't understand the concept there, but.
Took a
so this one is halo lit.
I'm just saying, whatever's brighter and better for an emergency sign, that's what I'm going with, but I don't know what it is, so I'll leave it to you guys, but
Brighter would be
Channel.
letters. We were cognizant of it being
There
across
is a
from a
house straight
residency.
across the street. I mean,
And having
maybe
that on
when he comes
24/7.
back, maybe we can go look, because I do think when he planted all those evergreens, this might be blocked from the house.
I believe so. It's more visible, I believe, than the other side, though, because it is
Right.
just physically closer
Closer to
than
the
the other
sidewalk,
way, than facing Elm. So this faces Walnut. But you're right, it is still below grade, and there is still screening. and it will be less bright than if it was a face-lit sign.
Why don't we keep it and we can look at this for the next meeting?
Yeah.
You know, keep it the way it is, but we could take a look and see if, it, you know, maybe this one could just be channel and brighter.
Would, yeah.
If the
I don't-
neighbors can't see it,
I don't know the answer. I'm just saying.
because there's a
I'll actually
house.
I'll be inside the blue house on the corner.
You're listing that one?
tomorrow, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. If you could do some
I'll
research.
take a little picture for everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, the walk-in entrance will
Because
be
things can look different.
definitely
from
not as bright as
upstairs
a,
windows.
Right.
as a red letters, set of letters on the,
Right.
on
Correct.
the facade,
Makes
but
a difference.
So I think, yeah, Gary, keep it as the halo lit, and
Okay.
we'll just take a look at it for next time.
and that is it. That's all my signs.
Now, just the emergency is the drive-through, but that's really for ambulances. You can't go in that, can you, on 24? I always thought that's just where the emergency vehicles
Yeah.
come through, so I know that's why they
I
put
think
walk-in
it's to
entrance
prevent
over
people from-
here, because you're really not going
No,
in
I
there.
thought about it.
I think it's to prevent people from driving under there.
Yeah, because that's for the vehicles, but,
Right.
and I see that's why they had the walk-in entrances here. I didn't know if people would they get confused
it's
that
really
they
you
can
gotta
walk
get the
in,
garage.
but
Good
they
point. If you
never
were like in
have.
a major emergency and you just wanted to like park your car and drop somebody, like let him go run in,
Right.
you might pull under that.
You might go there.
You're right.
And that's why I just always thought the walk-in this is where you're supposed to go, but, like Scott said, you gotta know you're there, but there are 2 emergencies, so. Would someone pull in with their car there and drop someone
would-
off, and
and
then
would
you'd be
you be
like right
reading
in
the
the
sign
mix,
if
right?
As you carry like a bleeding child.
Doesn't,
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe the ambulance
You can't go
one
in
should
there.
say ambulance entrance.
that's what I'm
Oh,
thinking.
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
The canopy.
I thought about
Yeah.
even putting just like a regulatory sign on that brick facade there,
Yeah,
to the
ambulance.
right.
Yeah, maybe ask them about that
Ambulance
one.
parking only. I've seen a couple other facilities that do that, where they'll put
Yeah, just as long as
ambulance
you're going
only.
through this to see
Don't pull in there, right.
emergency, if someone's in the area and they don't know the hospital, they might go that other way.
Right, leave their
I
car
would.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Would
Yeah, just not.
people who were driving, who were having a crisis in their car and
They
they're
don't
trying to drop them off, are they gonna notice a little sign, like?
No, you'd be looking for.
They
a
will
parking
probably just
space.
pull right up there and let them get out.
Yeah, and say, I'll go find a spot.
So
Yeah.
would you, instead of emergency, put ambulance
Ambulance,
entrance or
yeah.
ambulance?
Yeah. Maybe ask them about that one if.
Yeah, I'll ask
Instead
them
of just
if they get,
emergency,
what the
emergency.
experience is with people pulling in there, because it's an existing sign, so,
Right, right.
yeah, I will
But
ask
now
about
you have the one
24.
that says walk-in, so at least you're kind of know what
Right.
you're doing.
Gary, well done. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Thank
Hopefully
you.
it makes some sense.
Absolutely, it's definitely not as simple as what One Salt Creek and 908, I was in and out in about 3 minutes, so.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I knew this was gonna be a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I guess, can we have a motion for case A-8-2024 for U Chicago Medicine Advent Health to continue this to the
May
May 8th meeting, so the applicant can reflect the revisions we requested. Do
So moved, Fiesconi.
we have a second?
Second and more.
Roll call, please, Bethany?
Commissioner Harlow.
Aye.
Commissioner Curry.
Aye.
Commissioner Cernovich.
Aye.
Commissioner Fiesconi.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Chairman Cashman.
Aye. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you. That
Thank
was less
you.
painful than I thought it would be.
Yeah, one much quicker, yeah.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
She made me resubmit about 16
One in a
Oh,
million.
no, I did look at the, if you look at the revision block on the
Oh,
drawings.
I think they ran out of room.
Yeah, they started back last year.
Yes, we've been
Yeah.
working on this for about a year now,
Yeah.
if not more, so.
Oh.
Yeah, thanks,
They've
Gary.
put a lot of good work into this.
All right, we'll see you in May.
Thank you, Gary.
Well, we're lucky to
Thanks,
have
Gary.
Can I have a
Bethany.
motion to adjourn?
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who seconded?
More.
Okay, thank you.
But
I think we just made.
I heard him quite.